Once upon a time, there lived this guy named Isaac Newton. He's kind of a big deal, even though nowadays he's mostly remembered for getting hit in the head with a fruit and naming those weird fig bars. See, Newton discovered a lot of pretty important things that you probably take for granted every single day. Among those things are the laws of motion. You know, an object at rest tends to stay at rest, etc. Newton's third law states, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Basically, that means that if I push something, it's going to push back just as hard. This has a lot of cool and practical applications, my favorite being the rocket, because, you know, space. Rocket engines work by pushing gas out of the nozzle, and via Newton's third law, the gas pushes back on the nozzle, which produces forward thrust. Now, I would have loved to create a rocket for my physics project, but there's a couple problems with that. Like, how do I get a rocket back down? And how do I control where it lands? Building a rocket is just too hard, but I still wanted to work with rocket engines. And that's when I thought, oh, I know. I can build a rocket car. It demonstrates the exact same laws of motion without having to leave the ground. We started off with a 10 by 10 by 2 inch block of lightweight basswood. We cut it in half with a table saw and sketched our plans on it with a pencil. Using a bandsaw, we cut out the basic design of the vehicle. Next, we drilled holes for the axles and the engines. We cut a piece of 1/4 inch all thread to make the axles, and secured them with some nuts. The wheels are made of 1.5 inch washers, which are kept in place by some lock nuts. We then cut a depression along the bottom of the vehicle for the guide wire. We then attached the guides for the guide wire along the depression with some superglue. The vehicle was technically now finished. I say technically finished because even though it is functional, it's not very pretty yet. I started the beautification process by spray painting on a coat of white primer. When the paint had dried, I took out my Sharpies and drew a design on the vehicle. The rocket car, which I named Hermes in honor of the fastest god in Greek mythology, was now actually finished. Finally, it was the day of the launch. We chose a walkway located next to my house as the launch site. We began by measuring out the length of the track, 60 feet. We stuck wooden stakes at either end of the track and placed the guide wire around them. A bucket full of water was placed on both ends of the guide wire to keep it taut. Also, the water could be used to put out the car if it caught fire. After a great deal of preparation, the Hermes sat majestically on the launch pad, 2 Type A solid rocket motors primed and ready to fire. The countdown began. That's a bad idea. T-minus 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Well, that was fun. Now, if you're interested, the car traveled around 65 feet in 1.5 seconds, which gives it an average speed of around 30 miles per hour. However, keep in mind that it hit the far barrier before the engine stopped firing, meaning that if we had more track, it potentially could have gone much faster. How fast, I don't know. Perhaps another experiment might tell us. Well, until then, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. 2, 1.
You unplugged that, right?
Yes. Jesus Christ.
My shot may not have been great when I realized it was going to hit.
Don't touch the rockets.
Don't touch anything. Okay.